Hey Selena. Alright, so here's your past life spread. So, what we're going to do is go to where you were or what imagery they're going to be giving me as far as where we're going. If it's off planet, even though this is feeling like we're looking at on planet, but non-human, and then this also you have to know is just one of what feels like a handful of times when something like this might occur. And I'll get into it soon to kind of explain more. But we're going to go to where you were, what you did with the majority of your time during that time there. And we have an important day here with the relationship and feelings involved. Another important day with relationships, feelings involved. The death is over here if we're looking at a typical death, because sometimes with starseeds we, depending on their bodily structure, their physicality, and their like how the energy works, sometimes we get where they do die as we know death to be, or sometimes it is a choice, you know, or sometimes there's no death at all, it's just a continuation or a split. There's all kinds of things, so we'll see what comes through. And then here's the lesson learned. So usually we get hints of time throughout. When it's completely off planet, I usually flip the time card over because time is just really for Earth more than anything, but we'll just keep it for this because of what I feel like we're going to be doing. Okay, so all I'm going to do is relay to you the imagery and impressions that are coming through, and your job is going to be to try to make connections where you can based off what comes through in your current life. I'll try to help how I can, okay? There's a couple ways to make connections: direct and opposite. Direct connections is when you can directly relate to what's coming through. Opposite is when it's the opposite. So for example, sometimes we get people who, let's say they die in a fire in a past life. They might come back and they have a deathly fear of fire and they don't know why. So they stay away from fire, right? It's like that kind of thing. So remember that it's your job to just connect, and what you don't connect with is fine. You just want to tuck it in the back of your mind for a later time, because sometimes things come up and connect in the weeks, months, year later kind of thing. All right, so let's start here. We're going to go to where you were. So this card, we always have this card, and usually it's just this card for starseed readings, and this is typically in a typical past life reading would be Atlantis, Lemuria, but it also indicates non-Earth, other realms, other dimensions, and starseed based kind of thing. Now, what wanted to come through with this, which does not always happen where we get one that wants to come through for Earth as far as the places go, this is the Americas card, but it is specifically being drawn to either Central or South America, wherever there is a place where I want to say we're looking at a place where it's going to be focused around a pyramid. And it could be that the pyramid is already unearthed today, or it could be one that is yet to be unearthed today. So I'm just waiting to see if there's more information coming through that. But the idea of the pyramid itself, how you might connect with that, is the idea of sacred geometry, because a pyramid is of sacred geometry. And if you are dabbling in your gifts and abilities at this time, wanting to know what direction to go in, go ahead and look up sacred geometry, look up the pyramid. The pyramid has something about connection with it, connection from here to there. Like, I feel like this is coming through in a way where it's like, if you find that you are having any issues or trouble connecting, we'll say, with energies that you want to connect with that will give you more information about, we'll say, the starseed phenomena as it applies to your life, your distinct journey. The pyramid, in whatever form, can be helpful. So a lot of times you might like go into a shop and see crystals that have been formed into or shaped into a pyramid shape. I feel like that's coming through because that might be very helpful for you to do some kind of meditation with a pyramid shape by you. And there's something that the idea, the imagery coming through with that are two pyramids. One is black, one is pink. And this is these are little crystal pyramids that I'm seeing. And they're being placed down on the ground while you do this on either side of you. And it feels like there's something about the black one being grounding and the pink one connecting to your inner being. So like the heart, the chest area, the heart chakra. And it feels like this is going to be very helpful for connection. So I don't know if you are into channeling at all, or if you've heard of channeling, or if you listen to channelers, whatever it might be. This very much feels like you if you haven't already begun channeling, I want to say that you have, but if you're not aware of it, it's because it feels so natural to you that you don't consider it special. You just consider it like, oh, that's normal. Where it's like, I want to say art or writing, or even if you like feel, this is going to be silly maybe, but like if you have a dog or like a pet or a cat, whatever, and you talk to it and you get answers back, like real answers, you know, like you feel like you're actually communicating with it. That's not just you playing around with your animal. Like that's not just like cutesy. That's actual channeling. That's communication. So just keep that in mind, that you might be not aware of how innately gifted you are, because these gifts a lot of times come off as so natural that we question it. And we're like, no, it can't be that easy. That's what I feel like this is. Okay? So let's get into this a little bit more. It feels like the purpose we're looking at for this entity that we're looking at, I'm trying to see if there's anything with gender or looks or whatever coming through, but right now what's important coming through is the idea that this person helped with resources. It feels like they came in back in a time prior to being recorded, or if it was recorded, it's not unearthed yet, or it's lost. But it feels like they came in kind of at the cusp of the human being experience to help them, I want to say, like, reap resources. So kind of like of the earth. Like kind of it feels like you are an introductory kind of ET, like where you're like, all right, everyone, this is how you plant a seed. It's like that kind of thing. So we're actually looking at someone that's kind of like a teacher. As you orient these people into, I want to say, into their human lifestyle. And I feel like what's really interesting is you're not just talking to like humans who are just like, human. It's like, it feels like this is like a batch of humans, like the first batches of humans that were to be left alone without any assistance, we'll say. Because it feels like, and my own belief system does come into play here, where, you know, the idea of having assistance from assistance come in to help the humans like kind of start thriving, so to speak, and make things work on planet Earth, so like kind of explaining or whatever, in the beginning, that's where my belief system does come in. So that's what this feels like, is we're looking at where it's like the first batches of humans, so to speak, wherever this may be in this, again, Central South America, and it feels like those humans are closer to, like when we're children, how we're closer to the, like how there's a veil and we can't see beyond it until we're aware of it, that kind of thing, like closer to source, closer to spirit, right? It feels like even the adults at this point, the humans, are still in that kind of like place where they have connection to spirit. So I want to say it feels like we're looking at like humans that are human on the outside and starting to become more human on the inside, but still left with enough remembrance of where they come from, non-earthwise, where they come from, their spirit, like, oh yeah, I was Pleiadian and I decided to come to Earth to help with starting the human blah blah blah, you know what I mean, like that kind of thing. Like they have memories of the non-human. So it feels like your job here is to get these non-human humans, you know, like the first batch, kind of oriented on Earth, doing what they're supposed to be doing in order to survive as pure humans. Because it's almost like we'll say this is like the first generation kind of thing. And I know that's not how it worked. We weren't just plopped down, I get it. But it feels like the first generation of this kind of intellect slash, like, what's the word, like resourcefulness of humans slash, it's almost like a hybrid thing. This is what it feels like. And so it feels like you realize like in a few generations, it's going to be very different for their minds. They're not going to be as connected to who they were before, that kind of thing. It's going to be more just human. Oh, I'm human. I'm on Earth. Da, da, da. Like you might like that, where they might hear stories of back when their non-human ancestors came here, you know, that kind of thing. So it feels like you are orienting them on the planet so that they'll be able to kind of sustain themselves. So we are looking at what we might consider the role of a teacher slash nurturer slash, you know, like orienter, I guess. I don't know how else to put it. But they recognize you. It's not like you're completely foreign, but it does feel like you are not of the human hybrid thing we're looking at. It looks like you're the original visual, the original physical appearance of the human's spirit, where it came from, like their souls came from your race. So they see you, like, it's almost like, I want to say there's something, if you've ever heard of the Greys, like the Greys, it feels like it looks like them, but it's not them, because it's like them, but it's taller and like more like, they're more, what's the word? Capable. So like, so how I feel with the Greys feel more, just like, kind of task. This is more intellectual, graceful, and I want to say capable when it comes to like energy work and gifts, abilities, things like that. So it looks, and when I say it looks like them, it's like, I want to say big eye, like the big dark eyes. But these are tall. These aren't like little gray guys. These are tall and very pale, almost like pasty. It'd be like a pasty kind of skin. And I'm not sure if it's how they are on wherever they come from, or if it's just how they look to human eyes. And I feel like I'm saying that because there's a reason for that. And I feel like even if they look different, it's not about that being the reason I'm saying that. It's because of how you might perceive people. You might be someone that cuts into the core of people, where you're able to read who they are despite what they look like. You might be someone that it's almost like, it feels like you have something in you that would be able to look past the surface very quickly. And almost like, I want to say there might even be either one, a great appreciation for the surface level, the surface layer, the aesthetic of humans. Like, you might find humans in general to be very beautiful, but like more on an intellectual level, like a logical way of looking at it, rather than being enamored with how beautiful they are. It's more like a, oh wow, look how pretty. Like, that's very beautiful. Like, it's a little bit more logical based, where you can it feels like your appreciation for beauty may be more logical than immersed in it emotionally, if that makes sense. So however you might connect with that, and if you do, it stems from here. Because there's something about understanding what beautiful is without being, I want to say, without losing yourself in it. Because you're able to kind of stay non-attached from things and look at it, which is actually a gift. Like, that's the natural ability or gift that I was talking about, where it's like, that'd be one of them at least, where it feels so natural. It's just your way of doing or thinking since you were young, so you don't think of it as an ability or gift. But if you connect with that thing where you're able to kind of mentally step back and observe something without becoming kind of like attached to it, like looking at someone and seeing that they're beautiful. Like, so let's say there's a very attractive person that you find very attractive. It's like you next to your friend, and you're looking at this attractive person. They might get like giddy and giggly and ooh, you know, like not really like, or like, you know, act in such a way that they're affected by the attraction, where you might be like, oh wow, that person is very attractive. I can see that they are attractive. Like that kind of thing, where you're just like more grounded in your observation of the aesthetic of the world, if that makes sense. Like almost like observing planet Earth. Like, wow, these plants are so beautiful, and look how amazing they are to produce a fruit that we can eat. Like it feels like there's something that's very logic based when approaching beauty, but not so logic that you're not appreciative of it. It's almost like the appreciation is logical, if that makes sense. So connect with that however you can. I know that's very specific, but like if you can connect with that in some sense, and if not, just tuck in the back of your mind for a later time. And so what we're going to do is go to what you did with the majority of your time, even though I feel like I've been explaining it. But this card here, this is the food card. And I feel like this kind of cements the whole like resources thing. What comes through this is the idea of like, okay, so there are all of these foods on Earth, and this is how you grow them, and this is this and this and that, but also some might be poisonous, so you want to avoid this and that. And it's almost like what's coming to my mind is how, you know, we might hear someone say, or maybe you've thought like, How do they know something's poisonous? Did someone die from it in order for people to understand it's poisonous? Or did many people have to die in order to understand it's poisonous? And I feel like there's actually something linking here to answer that, which is interesting to me, quite frankly, like on a personal level, that it feels like with the assistance of, with ET assistance that you're providing, and you have other people who are helping as well, it feels like they actually told the people what was poisonous. Not all of, not everything. So of course, yes, people will be dying from poisons that are unbeknownst to them, and you know, hybrid plants are made and new plants are grown, all that kind of stuff. But it feels like in the very beginning, at least, there were like poisonous plants, that kind of thing, where you'd be like, don't touch those are bad. However, you might be like, don't eat those, they're bad, but you might be able to use that for pigment or, you know, to whatever. Like, it's very interesting. So this also speaks to someone who, first of all, if you are resourceful, and not just that, but creatively resourceful in the way where you might see something how everyone sees it, but then you might see an angle where you can use it in a different way. So if you notice, and that would be another thing coming through about what we were talking about that feels so natural to you, you don't even realize it because it's just a thought process to you, but other people would look and be like, whoa, I didn't see that. I would never have thought of that. Where for you, it might be very natural when you see something and you think, oh, well, why don't we just use that for this as well? Or, you know what I mean? Like, people might say, oh, there's no use for this. It's like almost like what's coming to mind is the idea of like, peeling a banana and throwing away the peel, and you might be like, wait, we can use the peel, you know, like the peel can help with this, and we can use it for that, or we can try making it into this, or that kind of thing. So what we're looking at as far as your creativity the connection would be if you have constructive creativity, where it's not just fantastically based or imaginative based, where it can't be done, or nothing can be done in reality, real life. This would speak to your creative mind in such a way that it would be the kind that something can be used, or it makes things useful. You can see where something can be useful in the real world. I think I made that a lot longer than it had to be, but you get what I'm saying. So connect however you can with that. Now, if you can't connect with that, like if you're like, no, that's not how my creativity works, it works more fantastically based. Like, I'm in my imagination, I'm in my head a lot, right? So that might be an opposite connection, which is fine. But even with that, there would be a message in that you can expand your creativity to include new ways of creativity, new outlooks or avenues to funnel your creativity through so that it is more useful. And this might be coming through just in case you're thinking of, I want to say, starting a business, or you're trying to think of things that it's almost like expansion, the feeling of expansion, if that makes sense. And I want to say, if that's the case, if you're wanting to take on a new project, start a new business, or if you feel like your creative flow is like staunched or stagnant or stuck, or it's not like getting you anywhere, it would be because you haven't tapped into this part of your creativity yet, which is still a part of you because we're seeing it here. And if that's the case, if you ever feel stuck, whether now or in the future, if you're feeling stuck in the creative flow, look at how you're using your creativity and where it's stemming from. And then you need to switch gears, shift gears, or incorporate the other part of creativity. So for example, again, if you find yourself in a fantastical based creativity, which I mean like you're in your head a lot and you're thinking of things that that you can't like anchor into reality to help you, you have to switch over to this more logic creativity, where you're coming at something from a different perception and perspective. It's about looking at something in a different way. What's coming through is that quote by Einstein, where you can't solve the problem from the same level that it was created at. So what do you have to do? You have to kind of find a new way to come at the problem, but it has to come from a whole nother level. So like an evolved level where the solutions are. So you can do that with your mind. Even if you feel like how? You have to believe it. First of all, you have to understand it. You have to resonate with this. And if you do, then you're able to tap into this energy. And that's where you can shift over and you just allow it. It's the kind of thing where you won't have to try too hard. It will feel natural. It will just be like a click, like it'll be like a shift, like a lever kind of switches the other way, and you change tracks on a train, and it's like coming at your creativity in a different way, from a different railroad. You know what I mean? So just sit with that and process that. See how you connect with that, because that will be very helpful in the case that you do feel stuck or you don't know which way to go and you just feel like nothing's coming to mind. It's because it's about the track you're on of creativity, and you need to switch it. It doesn't mean it's basically I'm saying you don't have to go pure logic. Creativity has a lot of logic in it and very useful information that can be used in real life, but if you're on the wrong track, it's not going to help you with the whatever at hand, the project at hand that you want, right? So you gotta shift, but it's in there. Like you have all these tracks in your brain. You just have to think of it that way. Like your brain is just full of railroad tracks, and you can shift it. So you have that much power and control. Just understand that. Especially we're looking at this. Okay, yeah. So now as I'm looking at, so the energy of this being feels, while it's balanced masculine energy, if we were to look at this person, this entity that you are here, it would come off as graceful masculine. So it'd come off as feminine masculine, which is different than a masculine feminine. Think about that. So it's a feminine masculine. So however you might connect with that would be in your current life if you find that your energy is a feminine masculine, which could translate a lot of times as like being a tomboy, whether in your youth or now or whatever, or having more masculine traits, but being able to utilize your feminine energy it's like utilizing your feminine energy when it comes to speaking your mind, speaking your opinion, getting what you want, that kind of thing. Because those are what we would consider masculine traits, being opinionated and moving towards what you want, being goal-oriented, whatever you might consider masculine traits, aggressive, I guess, but not in a bad way, just like, I want this. But also that balance of feminine makes it so that you can use what you have to get to what you want, get to where you want to be, or get what you want. And it's almost like I want to say, use what you got. Like, don't be ashamed, or don't feel guilty, or, like whatever assets you have, you chose to have them. So use what you got to get what you want. It's almost yeah, I mean, it's just that simple. It's like you chose, like, if it's your body or your aesthetic, what you look like or what you sound like or whatever it is, like whatever charm you have, whatever energy you have, right? You chose the vessel that you have. You chose to be born into the vessel that you have right now, your body, whatever, your voice, your face, your everything that people see on the outside, you chose it. So use what you have to your advantage because you chose it for a reason, and you also have goals in your mind and heart, and you want to achieve certain things and you want to accomplish certain things in life. Put it all together and use it. Don't feel guilty about it. It was for a reason, if that makes sense, if you can connect with this, okay? So keep making connections where you can with that. We're going to go to this day here. So this day here is the enlightenment card. So it's like a day of like, like learning, like, aha, okay, I see. That's what's coming through. And the relationship here is the soulmate card. And this is the approval and disapproval card. Whoop, there we go. So what we are seeing here is it feels like you are developing, ooh, this is actually really interesting. It feels like you're developing feelings for one of the hybrid humans, or there is a developing of feelings, and I want to say it's because there's oh, this is so weird. Okay, so it's like there's an attraction because the human is attractive, but also because the soul still remembers the way of your people, so you're connecting on a soul level to someone who's just like you, but then you're connecting on a physical level to the human aesthetic, which is completely new, and it feels kind of, I want to say, like you feel like you shouldn't be attracted. Like you feel like it's almost like beneath you to be attracted to the human aesthetic in a weird way, even though, so we are talking a little bit about ego here. So that also is coming through to kind of remind you that, ego, it is very human, but it's not exclusively human, But this kind of ego, it's not like malicious. It's just like, oh, I don't believe I would have ever considered being attracted to a human. Who knew? So it's kind of like a gentle ego, I guess, if anything, like who'd have thought? And it feels like, so it feels like that in itself is enlightening in the way where, understanding new or finding new things about yourself or new things that you are attracted to. Now, this could be connecting to you in your current life where you might find yourself going in a certain direction in life you never thought you would, being attracted to certain goals or paths that you never thought you would. Almost like you used to hate the idea of something and now you're considering making it your career. Like that kind of thing where you never saw it like yourself being attracted to that. This can also be very literally where you find that you are attracted to people that you maybe once, like maybe in your youth, you were not attracted to. Or it could be that you're attracted to people who are very different from you aesthetically, but that your souls sing to each other. Like, it could be that you find attraction with people where you can, like, it goes hand in hand with what we were talking about before about seeing through the surface to the soul. It's like that. It's like you don't care what they look like. If your souls speak to each other and you feel that, it doesn't matter what they look like. And so because of what we're seeing here, it could very well be that you find yourself attracted to people that may not be the same ethnicity, come from the same culture or heritage as you kind of thing, but your souls sing to each other. So if you're in a relationship, we'll say, and it's not going well, it would be because your souls don't speak to each other. Like you're just not on the same soul page. If you're in a relationship, it's going well, it's because you understand each other on a soul level. If you're not in a relationship, the one you're waiting for will sing to your soul. And they, from the feel of this, if you're not in a relationship, it's likely they might be a bit different from you, from what you were brought up with, so to speak. So keep that in mind. And the soulmate card goes with that, of course. The approval and disapproval, this speaks actually to the ego thing we were just talking about. And I feel like it's more about not you having a torn feeling in you about it, but more about just being aware of others that might not understand what it's like or how you're feeling, or not understand, like not, I want to say like not approve, quite frankly. Yeah, get approval, disapproval, sorry. Okay, yes. So it feels like people, like there might be people that don't approve, and when people, if this were the case, and let's say you fall in love with someone and people don't approve, the people who are stepping out and having the audacity to not approve of your love when it's distinctly soul level love, and everything, you're being treated well, there's no abuse, obviously, like even on the outside, like everything looks beautiful or whatever, and they're still not approving, that is a clue. That's a big like clue for you as to who you need to distance yourself from energetically. And it's, even if it's family, it doesn't matter who it is, if they're discouraging of you when you are happily making a soul connection with another person and it's love based, that is your clue. Okay, I get that. I guess this is the person I need to cut some ties with. I need to like distance myself and clear up some space to allow the ones that approve of my love based approach. Like you want your tribe, you want to surround yourself with people, your tribe. These are people that will be encouraging towards whatever steps you take towards something that is love-based. People who are discouraging you when you're on a path that is love-based. Those are people, those are toxic. That's what we call toxic. That's unhealthy. So if anything, you would have a soul contract with those toxic people that you need to let go of them. Your lesson is to learn to let go of the toxic people. And it's a really good way to weed them out. Fall in love. See who approves and who doesn't approve when you're in love. And it's love-based and you're happy. And if someone has a problem with that, there you go. They didn't pass the test. Their soul is basically saying, me, it's our time, it's the lesson, cut me out, you know better. Like that kind of thing. It's about healthy boundaries is what we're talking about. Because with this entity here, this love-based here, it's just everything is so new here that there are no rules. They just go with what feels, again, love-based and what feels is pulling at them. Their intuition. That's your intuition too. You have the same amazing level of intuition as we're seeing here that you have. You still have it. It didn't go anywhere. It just got kind of covered up with a bunch of human lives. It got layered over. But like, no, like your intuition is like, it's incredible and amazing. And there are no rules here. And so they get to be together without any hate, so to speak, right? So the big thing here, though, too, is the idea of no rules. What rules are you following? What rules are you allowing society to continue to keep you programmed with? And that's where you want to be aware of that and really look at that rule book and be like, wait. I can rewrite these. I don't need to go by these rules. And in fact, the more rules you rewrite to serve your best interest, so to speak, you know, as long as you're not like breaking laws that's going to get you in trouble, right? And you're not hurting anyone, rewrite the rule book to serve your highest good. And when you do that, you are literally raising your vibration and you're attracting people on the higher frequencies to you, where there is great love, great joy, great happiness, great success, great abundance, great manifestation, all that stuff. That comes when you rewrite the rules, when you can recognize what isn't working for you and what is just a program in your mind from being taught a certain way as you grew up. And when you're able to let go of that and rewrite your rule book, you're literally rewriting your reality. That's how much power you have. So just keep making connections here. We're going to go to the next important day. This is the So Long Farewell Until We Meet Again card. And it's with the Soul Group card. Woo, I am feeling really, it's a lot of emotion, huh? And then this is kind of like nostalgic, kind of a nostalgic-y, kind of melancholy feel. And this is, I want to say, this is the most, if not one of the most, I want to say enlightening days. Even though enlightenment's up here, this rolls into this because everything you've experienced culminates to when it's time for you to take leave. Like, you're not meant to stay with these people forever. In fact, it's because your lifespan is much greater, much longer than the human lifespan anyway. So no, you're not supposed to be with them. Much longer than, I want to say, then is your duty to do what you were meant to do, which was to help them with their resources and survival and things like that, get that going. And it feels like your time is done and you've done your job. And it's not like you're gone forever, but it's like once you're gone, the time on planet Earth takes over. Like the illusion of time takes over. So what's a blip for you would be 100 years for them, right? So it's like completely different. So you know, once you take leave off of the atmosphere, everything, it's your goodbye to the ones that you knew at the time that you were there. So it's very bittersweet, even though you know on a soul level, you're going to see them again and you're going to recognize each other again, no problem. You know, like they can reincarnate back on your planet or wherever you're from, and you'll see them and be like, hey, how was that Earth life? You know, remember I helped you like grow trees. You know what I mean? So it's not all is lost, but you spent enough time with the humans that their emotions have affected you in understanding how their emotions are, because the emotions are new to them too. So it's almost like what we would be able to handle very well today, it's a bit extreme for them because it's new to them. Because they're more, I want to say, like your race here, your entity, whoever you are, it's a little bit more logic based, even though you're able to appreciate, like we said before, appreciate beauty. There's a logical tonality to appreciating beauty rather than the crying at the, you know, devastatingly crying at the beauty of it. That's human. They're more like, ah, what a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to, anyway, hopefully you understand what's going on, or what I'm talking about. But this day is you're taking leave. You're taking leave. It feels like you were there a long time. It feels like you lived the life with this human of yours that you found, the attraction. It feels like you got substantial amount of time with them and it was awesome. But then it's time to go. Your job is done. And I feel like what we're looking at here for you in your current life, the connection actually has to do with healthy boundaries. And what we were talking about before when it comes to knowing when you need to cut ties with people who are not serving you, their energy is not serving you. And hopefully it makes it easier for you to cut ties. And again, if this is not now, it could be in the future, I'm sure. because it's everyone goes through this lesson, but it might be very helpful to start to see it from the perspective of your starseed self, so to speak, this being, the perspective being that that soul that you are to cut ties with, or many souls, whoever, the group, a group of people, one person, what, it doesn't matter what I'm saying, because usually, you know, if you say goodbye to a romantic partner, a lot of times you have to say goodbye to the whole family, and that can be devastating, you know, especially if you're close with them. But a good way to look at it is that there's a soul contract written between all of you, or just you and the person you're cutting ties with. There's a soul contract that on a soul level you both knew that the goal was to cut ties in order for you to learn healthy boundaries and in order for them to learn to treat people better or to change their ways or for you to change. You know what I mean? Like there is a lesson and a reason behind it all. If you approach it from that level, that is a higher minded level, and that allows you to let go easier. It's not going to be easy peasy lemon squeezy every single time. Like it's not like that easy, but easier. And it's like, use whatever tools you can to make these things easier, but make sure you at least do them so that you can get further away from toxic energy, raise in vibration, create space for your higher vibe tribe to come in and move forward. All right? And also a message of nothing is forever. You're going to see loved ones again, and even like the enemies, you're going to see them in spirit and be like best friends again, because their role was to be your enemy for a time as a human on earth, because that you had to learn a lesson. But in spirit, it's all like, hey, I did a good job making you miserable so you would cut ties and learn healthy boundaries, didn't I? And you'll be like, yeah, you did a good job. Good to see you again. You know what I mean? Like it's that kind of thing. So it's just a higher mind perspective that's going to be very helpful. But yeah, so make connections where you can with that. The soul group card, though, is the people you are with. These people, you'll see them again if you probably are with them now. And if not now, in this life, you will be meeting up with at least a few of them again. Because you come in and out time and time again with each other. And also this aspect of you, this aspect we're talking about, like this ET aspect, is still alive in a different time and space. Even though time's an illusion, it's a different, he's still going. So that's why you can always tap into his energy whenever you want to, simply by connecting by thought and intention. That simple. So just keep that in mind and keep making connections where you can. Now the death card here, burn baby burn. This is not death. This is rebirth. This is the fire, the fire, the phoenix, the ashes kind of thing rising out again. And it feels more like anything. It's just that don't forget that you choose to come back time and time again in whatever form you may, human or non. And once you're done with human, doesn't mean you're always done if you don't want to be. And once you're done with human, always means you can go back and visit other places before reincarnating if you want to again. It's like, this is representing right now, this is just representing cycles, and you get to choose. It's like I keep wanting to say after everything, that's how much power you have. That's how much power you have. It's like, I feel like that's a message in itself for you. Maybe you need to hear. That's how much power you have. Your choice. Don't underestimate your choice and the choices you make and the power behind your choices. Seriously. So here's the lesson. The lesson is enlightenment. And it feels like this timeline, this human timeline that you're on right now, is like doing what's coming to mind, it's doing the thing, like if you ever played a video game and you are going, like let's say you're driving down a path in a video game and you're going at a certain speed, and then you hit like one of those things in the road that super speeds you, like that, and then you go back to the pace. It feels like you're either one, now hitting a super speed, or you are about to hit a super speed, and there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be coming up to your surface soon, and you have to understand to recognize all of the stuff that's happening is on the path of enlightenment, in the way of like understanding who you are again. So it's going to feel like a remembering, but there are going to be little things along the way, like cutting ties. People don't see cutting ties as a spiritual thing, but it's completely spiritual, because that's a soul contract and it's a lesson to learn. Healthy boundaries, creating healthy boundaries, That's very spiritual. So I feel like this is also hearkening back to when things feel so natural, you don't even realize that you have gifts and abilities because it's just a natural way of doing things for you. But other people are like, whoa, that's a gift, like that kind of thing. That's what this is too. It's like, it's just not realizing what things are spiritual. It's like the more you can recognize how the very almost a lot of mundane, typical human experiences that we have are actually quite spiritual, then you can do it's the super bump thing, the super thing, the road where it gets you through it. When you acknowledge and you're aware, like acknowledge it. Oh, this is a spiritual thing happening right now. And it might not even feel, they don't usually feel like awesome. Sometimes it feels really hard and tough and emotional and stuff like that, but it's very spiritual. And this is the kind of stuff too that opens you up and brings tough stuff to the surface to release so that you can bring the stuff under that up so you can work with it, because there's more gifts and abilities within you that is developing every day in your subconscious. So the more you let go of like the surface stuff and do all the work, I want to say that shadow work, the inner work, the work, like the emotional work, then the more you're going to tap into those intuitive gifts and abilities that are already in there. They're just like simmering, waiting to be kind of like brought to the surface past all the gunk that's already there that you're letting go of now. So just keep doing the work, keep doing what you're doing. Because I feel like you're going to be doing, like, you're going along, you're going to do boom and go forward, and then you're going to do boom, go forward, like these little like bursts of speed as you move along. And your job is going to be to try your best to enjoy it and have fun with it, recognizing everything for what it is, that it is the spiritual journey, and it's incredible and it's amazing. So anyway, there is your past / parallel starseed aspect of a life here. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you're able to make some connections, and thanks for letting me read you.